Hey y'all, it's Loren LoRosa from The Breakfast Club. Sorry to interrupt, but y'all know how I do. So I'm here to talk about Top Dog Law. Y'all hear Top Dog Law all over your radio, and I know by now that if you want top dollar, you should also know this. You gotta call Top Dog Law if it's about your car accident. Don't let these little family lawyers finesse you into a little check. Shouldn't nothing be little this season. Remember, for any serious accident, injury case, Top Dog Law gets you top dollar. So make sure you call today to find out what your car accident, your slip and fall, or your construction accident case could really be worth. And calling Top Dog Law is completely free also. It's free for a consultation. Call Top Dog Law today to see if your case is eligible for compensation with no money down. So make sure y'all go holla at my dogs, no pun intended, over at Top Dog Law. That's Top Dog Law on Instagram and topdoglaw.com. Now, let's get back to The Breakfast Club. Now, yesterday in court, Cassie's mom took the stand. Her name is Regina Ventura, and she got on the stand and said, she got on the stand and alleged that Diddy demanded $20,000 from her and her husband, which they paid at a drop of a dime, because he was upset that Cassie was dating Kid Cudi. Now, her testimony was very short and to the point. The prosecutors asked her a few questions about, just her relationship, the background when she met him. And she said, my daughter was his artist, and then it progressed into her dating him. She moved to LA, and we would only see her certain times. She then began to talk about how those certain times would be Cassie coming home for the holidays. She went into one holiday when Cassie came home in December. Cassie came home, and this was after she had called Cassie before and been like, hey, I'm hearing or I'm reading these blind items online that are saying that, that are alleging that Diddy's putting his hands on you, that you got beat up in the back of a car. What's going on? And she said, Cassie said, no, Mom, that's not me. That's not us. That didn't happen. But the Cassie came home this one Christmas, and she had marks on her body. And they then had to sit down and have a conversation about the physical abuse that Cassie was experiencing. In that moment, her mom said that they took pictures. Mind you, we had seen these pictures in the court because they talked about it with Cassie when she was on the stand. But her mom came and added some more context as to why they took pictures of the bruises. And her mom said it was simply because we wanted to memorialize the moment. We wanted to basically have... I know that this is happening. Have proof that it's happening. Exactly. Then she talked about Kid Cudi. The mom, Cassie's mom, talked about Kid Cudi coming to her home and visiting her, being there for a few days. But then they got to the $20K, and the mom said Diddy was upset. He reached out and allegedly told her, "Look, I just spent $20,000 on Cassie, and now she's dating Kid Cudi, and I need to recoup my money. So y'all send me this money." And this was after they had gotten this email that Cassie had sent, they, as in Cassie's parents, detailing the fact that Diddy had these sex tapes allegedly that he threatened Cassie to release, and he had threatened her that something was going to happen to her and Kid Cudi, and that his hands weren't going to be, it wasn't going to come from his hands. He would actually be out of the country. Cassie sent that email to her mom because, again, I think she just wanted some record of it because she was, she was scared allegedly. Her mom was like, okay, so we get told about these sex tapes that caught me off guard, and all this stuff is catching me off guard. And then he calls talking about, allegedly he calls talking about this $20,000 demand. She said they went and took out a home equity loan, paid the $20,000, and the prosecutor said, well, why did you guys pay it? Why did you? And she said, we were scared for our daughter's lives. So they paid the money. 4 to 5 days later, before that, let me back up. The prosecutor then asked her, well, how did you even know how to pay the money and who to pay it to? She says Cassie's mom alleges that one of Diddy's bookkeepers sent an email with all of the information of how to wire it to him. They sent it. 4 to 5 days later, the money came back. No conversation, no nothing. They never spoke to him about it.
That's one of the specific things in the lawsuit. They said that he was using sex tapes and sexual images to blackmail.
Yes.
Cassie.
And
other people.
Now I think, they should have known before, but now I guess people can understand why Cassie and Cassie's family is going so hard. If you call me, my daughter, and say, you got my daughter's sex tape and I'm going to release it for $20,000 and you're a $100 millionaire.
And I had to take out a home loan?
I had to take home a home loan to pay that.
Straight man.
Because you had the money. You didn't need the money. You did it because you just wanted to make me do it.
Exactly.
I'm going to try to bury you. If not, try to hurt you myself.
No, let me tell you, talking about hurt you myself. Her mom then talked about another incident where they flew into LA for Cassie's 30th birthday. And this was Cassie's birthday is in August. So she was like, it's August. We fly into LA for Cassie's birthday. It's her 30th. So, they're excited. That's their baby. They get there and Diddy and Cassie allegedly already going through their things, and there's an incident that goes down where Diddy takes Cassie's phone allegedly, and her mom, Cassie tells her mom, and her mom is trying to get the phone back, so they're outside of Cassie's apartment. Cassie's mother, Diddy, and allegedly D-Rock arguing. Cassie's mom said, "Oh, I was yelling at him. I was trying to hit him. The only reason she alleged she couldn't get to him is because D-Rock was in the middle of them." So now you have this older woman outside trying to fight you to get her baby's phone back, allegedly, right? D-Rock's in the middle. She said, Cassie's mom says that Diddy did not give the phone back, but he did give the phone back, but when he left with Cassie's car, allegedly. It was a Jaguar car that he left with, and the prosecutor's like, well, how did you know that he left with the car? She said, I saw it drive off. So then that goes back to a lot of what Cassie was saying on stand originally, like he controlled everything. He would take things when he got upset, allegedly. He would do different things. So she kind of had to do her job, as she kept mentioning.
What about Kid Cudi? I heard Kid Cudi's taking a stand.
Kid Cudi is taking a stand. I want to say before we get to Kid Cudi, Cassie's mother was the first witness that Diddy's team did not they didn't ask her no questions. The lawyer stood up, introduced himself, and said, I have no questions for you. That was the first time we ever seen that in court. Because what you going to say to that woman?
Nothing.
Exactly. Now, Kid Cudi. Yes. So
Man on the stand.
Yesterday, at the end, they started to talk about the rest of the week, and they said that Kid Cudi will be in court this week. They said that today, Wednesday, if they were able to, they would get to Kid Cudi, and he would be testifying. But from what I'm told, the way the testimonies are going to be set up today, they don't really think that they'll get to him today, that it's actually supposed to be Thursday, which is going to be he's a huge witness as well too, because he's going to speak to, of course, a lot of the abuse
arson.
Again, but the arson, the card stuff,
but also the conversation that they had at that dinner.
The alleged conversation they had at that restaurant, and they is Cassie, Diddy, and Kid Cudi, because Cassie alleged that Diddy came and sat them all down and said, I don't like what's going on here, basically, and y'all need what's happening. Fill me in, because he felt away. Diddy's team is alleging that he did that because he felt away, because he put them in the studio together and then they started dating. Cassie's like, regardless of the situation, it was threatening, and he mentioned that he was going to do things allegedly to Kid Cudi and to her. The car came into conversation, and at that dinner, Cassie alleges that Kid Cudi said to Diddy, "Well, what about my car?" And Diddy said, "What car are you talking about?"
Yeah, but people who don't know, Diddy allegedly blew his car up.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I forgot. That's a major point to say.
Yes.
Yeah, because he allegedly blew his car up.
What about my car?
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's going to be big, man, because, Diddy allegedly threatened to kill him, went to his house with a loaded gun, and that's going to be a really interesting part of the trial, because it'll probably start with Cudi, and then there'll be another witness who used to work for Diddy. He'll probably come in and confirm a lot of Cudi's testimony.
Yeah. Now, what about Big Punisher, that his penis couldn't get hard and he had to?
First of all, you need to watch how you say that, because people gonna think you're talking about the rapper.
Oh, there's a rapper named Big Punisher?
Yes. Rapper passed away.
Big Punisher?
Big Pun passed away 30 years ago.
And Diddy been freaking off for 30 years.
I didn't know that
allegedly.
Big Pun's full name was Big Punisher.
Exactly.
I never knew that.
So say the guy's name.
His name is The Punisher. His actual name is, let me look it up. It's like it's Sheree Hayes. He's actually from New York, and he wrote a book called In Search of Freezer Meat. But we'll have to get to that in the next hour, because
the name of his called what?
In Search of Freezer Meat.
So hold on. Hold on.
Yo,
before we move, just tell, were they cutting off penises and freezing them, or just?
No, he leans into freezer and meat, because he said, if it's frozen, that's the hardest it can get. And the book is about mental health and how erectile dysfunction can play into your mental health.
What that got to do with pork loins, though, and tenderloins and chicken and thigh breath in the freezer?
And searching for him.
Well, it was. Did he say he couldn't get erect during the freak off, and they never called him back?
They called him back a couple times. We're gonna get. Okay.
Listen, so he wrote a book about that.
He wrote a book about
Envy.
We're gonna get.
Remember in the first book?
Okay.
Crazy.
Envy.
Putting meat in the freezer to make it hard as it can get is insane.
Not Envy got a book bestie.
I don't ever want to be that horny. Why are people so horny?
You're the only one.
That's crazy.
The only one.
Freezer meat.
Loving this.
He is.
You're trying to figure it out, honey.
I'll find out next hour. Surprise.
Yeah, and we're going to start organizing the witnesses under the charges, because now it's starting to all lay out, and I want us to put it in places.
Also, when you surprise me next hour with some frozen mystery meat.
And also, when we come back next hour, you tell us who's testifying today. Who's going to be in court today?
Yes, and why would you look at Envy when you said that about a mystery meat?
There's no mystery about Envy's meat.
Like,
okay? We know where it's been.
I know that's right.
Somebody called me to the stand. I got some stories to tell, okay?
You better be quiet. You better watch out.
We bet you did.
All right. When we come back, we got front page news, and then the champ will be joining us. Clarissa Shields is the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
You're checking out The Breakfast Club. Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.